Praise the Lord. All right, I don't think they heard you. Is it good to see me? Just want to.
It's good to see you, Pastor.
Okay. All right. All right.
Amen.
We just want to make sure. All
Yeah,
right.
amen.
All right. Well, since this is Let's Talk About Marriage and the Family, as always, before we do the Q&A, we kind of open up with something. And I want to kind of open up with really how important that these better life lessons are, really, especially since we're talking about marriage and the family. You don't have to turn to the scriptures. These are familiar scriptures. I'm always reminded of Hosea 4:6, when it says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Amen.
And I've been saying for years, really, that one of the greatest enemies in life, and especially in the body of Christ, is ignorance.
Yeah. Amen.
Most Christians are destroyed, or that word destroyed really means cut off. Most Christians are cut off, or they're denied what they have in God, or what God has promised them, because they just don't know. Mm-hmm. In other words, if you don't know it's the will of God for you to be healed, then when sickness comes on you, then you'll be denied that promise of healing.
Amen.
Or if you don't know that it's the will of God that you prosper, then when lack and poverty comes your way, then you'll be denied the promise of prosperity, all because you just don't know. Mm-hmm. You can't do what you don't know.
You know, I was saying, Pastor, I was thinking because we are coming up to Pentecost Sunday.
Absolutely.
And most people are just only aware of acts of the coming of the church, and people are not aware of that Pentecost Sunday is the family coming to an agreement of their household.
Yes.
And so when you just continue, when you just look at just only the acts part, that it was a day of speaking in tongues, and don't grab hold to the part that household salvation.
Household salvation.
The household salvation all coming together. That you believe in God, that everybody in your house is saved.
Sure.
And when you don't know that, and all you just been looking at just Acts, the beginning of the church and beginning of speaking in tongue, you missed that part about my house supposed to be saved.
Yes.
And you grab hold to that household salvation. You pray for your son and your daughter, and you demand the devil take the hands off your family.
Yes.
And so when you don't know that part of the acts of the Pentecost Sunday, then what we do is we just think it's another day or another Sunday or just another time. But it's really about coming together. Coming together, the family coming together, the church coming together as one union. We should all saying the same thing. We should all be looking the same way, because it's something about we coming together that God will move for people that come together. That's why it said, well, there's 2 or 3 gathered in my name, I shall be in the midst of it. Because when we are together, when we on together, nobody can stop us. Absolutely. Because we are together. Yeah. But see, when you don't know that part of that Pentecost Sunday about my whole house supposed to be saved, it's all about the covering. And and so that's what I love to say about it, because we are talking about the family. We're talking about things coming together and stuff. And that's one thing that we do not want to deprive our life of that one coming in oneness.
Absolutely. Once again, if you don't know that, you'll be cut off, or you'll be denied that promise of that household salvation. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is one of your greatest assets in life. But when you don't know, you can't do. And obviously, when you do know, or when you do know better, you will do better. Proverbs 4:5 says, get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee and keep thee. Proverbs 4:7 says, wisdom is the principal thing. In other words, it's the first thing. It's really the foundation. Therefore, get wisdom, and then with all thy getting, get understanding.
And Pastor, I was thinking about this, because Mother's Day is coming up, and no one's speaking about women in general and stuff. And I was thinking about, we don't understand about being kept.
Okay.
Being kept is a privilege. It's an honor to be kept as a woman, to be kept as as a person that believes in God. To be kept means that I am preserved, that I'm not just put aside, that I am kept for a better plan in my life. And this is where, you know, I know married women, I don't know is this happening now, but a lot of married women have a problem with submission to their husband. And it's all about being kept. It's protection. It's you know, that I don't have to worry about him dogging me out. If he kept me, if he keeping me and protecting me and, you know, and not, you know, abusing the love that I'm giving to him. But it's a privilege to be kept. It's to be kept woman. And I was thinking about that, to be kept, you know, and God said, I will keep you and preserve you. And I love when he preserves us, because if he preserving me, then that means he got a plan for me.
Absolutely.
He not preserving me just as I get old and die. No, he preserving me for a purpose. Yes. And when he preserving you for a purpose, then he's waiting till I get mature enough to go into my destiny. See, we all got to get mature. Yes. We all have to get mature. You know, when we first started out, we started out as babies. We started out just crawling and crying about every little thing, and we didn't know how to pray to God. We didn't know how to worship God properly. But then when there come a time in your life, and everybody should be growing up, there come a time in your life when you know how to pray now. You know how to speak to those things that be not as though they were. You should know how to walk in victory and not be still stumbling along the way, because God has preserved us to come into our ministry. And once we come into our ministry, we can help somebody else. We can't help nobody else if we don't even know what kind of ministry that God got for us. Because all of us has a ministry.
Absolutely.
And the ministry that you have is your lifestyle. That means that if you've been burnt out, or you've been tore up, or you've been messed up and stuff, now I can tell somebody, listen here, girl, you ain't got to go through that. I'm telling you right now, you ain't got, you are better than that. But if you ain't never been delivered from nothing, if you've never been delivered from that, you never felt the victory of God, you have no testimony. The testimony of your life is the victory that you've been through, that you are delivered, that you are preserved. But everybody don't understand that, because they say, well, I ain't got nothing to say. Long as you living, you got something to say.
Absolutely.
As long as you living, as long as you are walking every single day, and you have every aspect of your life, you know, you can tell about when you was a little girl how you felt insecure. You can tell as you was a woman, and that about you was waiting on God to give you a husband. You can tell. It's so many different aspects of a woman's life that you can tell about what's going on in your life. You ain't got to wait for the Bible to open up for you. You can open up your own Bible for yourself and tell what God has done for you.
Well, that should be an invitation. Those of you need to be here this Sunday for Mother's Day service. That sounds kind of like a hashtag preserved for a purpose. I like that, preserved for a purpose.
Well, that's not the title.
I know that's not, but hashtag that anyway. All right. So get wisdom, get understanding. Wisdom is the principal thing. What wisdom does, wisdom gives complete understanding to knowledge. Sometimes people didn't understand the difference between wisdom and knowledge. You can have knowledge about something, but what wisdom does, wisdom shows you how, when, and where to apply the knowledge. You know, you can have knowledge. You know, a lot of folks have knowledge of some stuff. But see, you need that wisdom, because wisdom shows you how to use that knowledge, you know, how to use that knowledge. Because sometimes you can have knowledge and you can use it at the wrong time. So what wisdom does, wisdom teaches you, shows you how to use that knowledge, when to use that knowledge, and where to use that knowledge.
And we are coming into where we are in 2015. We come into an area where the wisdom of God has been faded, because we don't know right from wrong and wrong from right. And so we have allowed society to tell us what's right now. And you cannot, and when you are a Christian, you cannot compromise at no level.
That's right.
You cannot say, you cannot say, oh, okay, this is part is all right, then the other part is wrong. No compromise in no area. And that's where the devil's trying to rob the people of God of that wisdom.
Sure.
That wisdom of knowing right from wrong and knowing that no, and our standard is not people and not the government. Our standard is this Bible.
Absolutely.
So in other words, if God said is that we cannot live that way, then this is our thing is that no, we can't live that way. You know, when you're a sinner, you can live any kind of way you want to. We don't care how you live. But when you are calling yourself a child of God, you asking God to give you that wisdom so you know the difference between right. You can't do whatever you want to do, act the way you want to do. And just like the pastor said, that it preserves you and you know how to preserve that thing. Sure. And then you'll know how to answer that thing.
Absolutely.
See, wisdom gives you the way to answer a thing.
Sure.
You should know how to answer a thing. You know, you don't be so quick if you don't know. Don't say nothing. God said, I'll give you the words until you to say what you have to say. But don't be so quick. Yeah. Just wait on me to give you the answer. Before you just say something, then somebody will call you out on what you just said. Because we know we got people that got so many camera phones and everything on you, and you know you said one thing and they would bring it back up. What you said? You said this. They would bring it back in your face when you don't know what you said.
Sure.
I mean that's what the devil do. He's the accuser of the brother. The accuser of the brother. He waiting to see that you fail, you know, in some kind of area, so he can remind you. Oh yeah, you did say that. Right. I know you ain't got no girlfriend, boo. When you said you weren't going with nobody, right. You know, it's just bringing up every little thing that I said I was going to do and stuff. But so wisdom is the level that you want to be in God. Yeah. And when that wisdom comes, the spirit of discernment. Sure. That spirit of discernment is very important. I think the body of Christ don't even speak of it well enough, or don't even let you know about that spirit of discernment, so I can understand. You know, I always feel this way. And my husband reminded me, just like I said, my husband reminded me that he said, you got to know who the players are. You got to know who all the players are. You got to know who's with me, who's against me. I need to know that when I said something and you put my friend, you got my back. But don't pretend, and that's where Jesus really hate pretenders. You know, that's one thing he did when he cursed that fig tree. When he said, you deceive me. Yeah. And because you deceive me, I'm going to curse you that you don't deceive nobody else. Yeah. And that's what that fig tree was all about. You would not deceive anybody else, because you gave me the impression that you looked a certain way, and you supposed to have some fruit on your, and you ain't have nothing on there. And so the thing about God said, I hate you walking around saying you are something, and you can't be what you are. You know, you pretend and stuff, and then what happened is you hurt somebody else's life. Sure. You hurt somebody else's lifestyle and stuff, because they looking at you and thinking you are a certain way, and they say, if you can get away with it, then I can get away with it.
Absolutely. All right. Wise godly counsel also plays a major part to wisdom and knowledge. Proverbs 15:22 says, without counsel, plans fail, but with many advisors, they succeed. Proverbs 11:14 says, where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Proverbs 24:6 says, for by wise guidance you can wage your war, and an abundance of counselors there is victory. So this is, we just kind of opened up with that bit on how important these better life lessons is and all of that. But one of the things we want to open up with the marriage and family is finances in the family. Here are a few questions here. Who handles the household finances? Is it automatically the husband, or maybe the one who makes the most money? Should everything concerning money be discussed? We want to talk about joint accounts, separate accounts. Should working children help support the finances in the house? What about loaning to relatives? Let's deal with this one about who handles the household finances. And I'm saying that because there was a period where automatically you would assume the man. So now, I think we discussed this some time back. It's not necessarily the man who handles the finances, and this is not difficult. Whoever's the one who's a better manager. You know, whoever, if that's the one, if the woman is a better manager, then she should be the one to manage the finances.
That's easy said than done.
Okay.
Because I'm saying the fact that for some reason, I really do come into a lot of men that's insecure.
Absolutely.
I don't know what it is about this. I come to a lot of men insecure, and they don't want to look like a punk or look like they cannot take care of the house, and and that's where the contradiction come in, where I don't want to hand my money over to the woman, and really when you feel that way as a man, then you have trust issues.
Sure.
You know, you really do have trust issues. You know, trust issues, it has to grow. It has to grow, and I can't tell you when it's gonna come about or whatever and stuff, but everybody will figure out who can handle the money based on a track record.
Yeah, and that don't take long.
It don't take long. After a while, when you start seeing late notice, when you start seeing that there's no money in the account when we have a joint account, when you start seeing that
the light bill wasn't paid, but
bills wasn't paid, you know, after a while, then
but
it's like
you got some new rims on your car, or I'm just saying, whatever.
Yeah, it is something else. And then especially when the wife have a idea or the kids need something, and you think the kids don't need it right away. You know, it's such a pattern that you need that everybody that's married or even got a joint account or account together, you know, or y'all pay the separate bills or something. This is an area you need to really, really, really do talk about. Because after a while, your track record will show. Even though, you know, if he making majority of the money or the woman making majority of the money, even when the woman making majority of the money, that's even worse in a sense.
Like you said, if there's no trust there and if there's some insecurity there, then that will be a problem.
That would be a problem.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the old Laura would say, I make my own money, and I'm sorry you ain't got no money. You know, that's the old Laura. You know, that's the old Laura. The new Laura don't say that no more.
Well, praise the Lord.
But
since
old
you
Laura,
made it personal, thank the
Laura.
Lord out of 32 years that never happened. Because Doc has always had his money, so
I
you know.
But the old Laura would say it in a minute.
Yeah.
You know, this is my money. You know, because I do believe, and just like it really go back into being kept, because it's something about, well, my husband brought up a certain kind of way to make sure you don't depend on a woman's money. And I was brought up this way, not through my mother, just me thinking of common sense that he's supposed to take care of me. That's why I left my mama, because I went to somebody supposed to take care of me. And so everybody don't feel that way because everybody started out different, you know.
Yeah, sure.
But that's how I started out with that. No, you're not doing. Even when I had a job, he never asked me for no money. When I had a job, he never asked for no money. And, you know, because I already established in my head I wasn't giving him no money anyway, you know. But, you know, he never asked me for no money.
But now, let's just say, I do believe this. If something would happen or if I needed, you would have done that.
Yes, that's true. That's true. I wouldn't leave my crazy, my baby out here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't leave him out here. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So, we make jokes out of it because really, there's times she's offered to do some things, and I just told her no. Keep your money, keep it, So who handles the household finance? I just say really whoever the one who can handle it. You know, who's the better manager, and that's not always the man. And whoever it is, they need to submit to that. If the man or the woman, who's ever the better manager, you manage the money. You know, and then if you're not a good manager, then you need to turn it over because, you know, and that's okay. You know, everybody is not good managers of money.
And then also, too, when you're managing the money, you should also have a goal for the family. Sure. You know, even though you're paying bills and going on everyday life, but we should also have a goal. Every year, I know me and my husband, every year, we always analyze our year for what we're going to do. Like, you know, like if we got to buy a refrigerator this year, or we got to buy a stove this year or something. So then by by the beginning of the year or somewhere in the middle of the year, okay, we need to buy a stove, we need to buy a refrigerator. We need to start saving money for the stove or the refrigerator, or if we're going on a trip. Right. If we're going on a trip, then it's okay, we got to pay this amount. Then by the end of December, January, whatever we're going to do, then we should have some money for the trip. So we don't want anybody, because what the devil wind up getting you to do is so caught up in everyday life, you're not enjoying life.
Right, sure.
And God wants you to enjoy life.
Yeah.
Don't just get caught up with paying all the bills. And you got to pay the bills, but don't get so caught up that you don't have no pleasure in life. That you don't take vacations and you don't enjoy each other. You ain't got to always have a big old trip like Hawaii or something, but you can go to Wisconsin Dells or go to a bed and breakfast or place, or go to a nice hotel somewhere and stuff. But you got to learn how to enjoy life, and don't just get so mundane. Well, I got to pay this bill, got to pay that bill, got to pay that bill, pay that. And then what happens is when you get so stressed out, then you start hating each other. Don't like each other no more, because like that's all I do is work and cook and eat, work and cook, doing the same mundane. But you got to learn to enjoy each other.
See, and that's why I said it doesn't matter if it's the husband or the wife. Managing is a good manager. They can foresee, and they are aware of bills. They're aware of due dates. They're aware of certain things, and they're aware of, okay, maybe if we're trying to save here and this is due. They're aware of all of those things. And everybody is not like that. Yeah. But a good manager is aware of those things, and they can manage that. A good manager can manage even when it's not enough. See, I've been preaching this for years. Sometimes people think you need more. That's not really always it. Because I know bad managers who have a lot, and they bad managers, then they bring it down to zero. But if you're a good manager, you can manage little and make it go far. Okay.
And then also, too, when you're a husband and wife team, you learn to preserve each other, whereas, and I always say a woman should always know the great deals around Chicago. But you should know what's on sale, whatever. You're not supposed to try to drain everything out of your husband and drain everything out of him and whatever. No, that's not a good wife. You're supposed to know when stuff is on sale or when you can get this and that, because you are preserving our household. Sure. We are not trying to drain each other out. Yeah. That we, like I'm just gonna take all his money. I'm gonna go buy the highest thing. I ain't gonna get it on sale. No, you're supposed to preserve, because especially when you got kids, you can't be sitting here buying everything, whatever for the kids every time they want a new baseball, a new soccer ball, and all that stuff. No, everything has to be seasonable. You should know when to do things. Amen.
All right. Should everything financially be discussed? Well, I guess that depends on the household as far as everything. Now, obviously, something big, or like I say, depending on what you're doing, if you're saving for something, and then if something is going to take away from the plan, it does need to be discussed. Then like I said, then it depends on if you got two incomes, or it goes into if you got separate accounts or joint accounts, and it just really depends.
And now this one area that I tell all my daughters here, because when my daughters come to me and tell me that they ready to get married, and one of the questions that I ask my daughter is about I need to see the guy, because the guy. He, influence you and stuff like that. But I want to know, is he a tither? Is he a tither? If he's not a tither, you ain't even talking to him, because he bring a curse on you. Yeah. See, and we believe in tithe. Whenever my daughter come to me and tell me, Pastor, I think I like this guy. I hear you, but let me see him and talk to him. And I will say it in a minute. Is he a tither? Because if you wind up getting connected to a person that don't believe in giving to the church, don't believe in tithing, then you messing up my family. Yeah. You messing up the family already. You automatically mess up the family. And they would do it, and then it's up to them whether they want to proceed with the relationship or not. But that is an area where when we finna get into a covenant, we need to know how we're gonna treat our money. Yeah. Because God belongs to our money. Sure. You know, we don't get married, then we saying, oh, we can't do, we got to cut back because we just get in this house. Ain't no cutting back. Ain't no cutting back, because this is how you lose favor over your life. When you start cutting back and we start being all tight and we start being all cheap, we got to keep all the money because we got to plan. No. That's the worst thing you can do is sit up here and start cutting back and holding back and say, well, you know, we saving for this. We can't pay no tithe. It's a devil's a liar. No, we going to pay our tithe, because that's how we keep the favor over our life for our new house, our new car, and for our kids.
Sure, absolutely. Should working children help support the finances in the house? Well, I guess that depends on, once again, on the situation. You know, if you're talking about somebody with a paper route or a young teenager working. But now, let me put it this way. Unless, if we're talking about adult children, and for whatever reason, the parents are kind of going through financial challenges, let's put it that way, then it would be nothing wrong with the adult child helping if that is the case. There's nothing wrong with that. Or sometimes you have cases where adult children are there and they're working, and then parents may charge them rent or something like that. Once again, that's dependent on how the relationship is and the situation. You know, so it just really depends. You know, if they're going to help contribute to the house or something like that. And I think this question came up some time ago. Now, if you have an adult child and they're helping you maintain that household and you need them to, then that kind of almost puts you on the it's still parent-child, don't misunderstand me. It gives you no room to disrespect or nothing. But it almost puts you on that par of kind of roommates. In other words, if your 21-year-old child or 25-year-old child is working and you need their income to help keep that household going. But then on the same token, you say, listen, you have to be in this house at 9 o'clock. You have to be kind of careful with that, because if they say 9 o'clock, I can go take my money and go pay somewhere else and get my own place. So you have to be very, very, very careful with that. You know, if that is the case like that. Like I said, I'm not saying disrespect and all of that. Never do that at no cost. But if your children is helping everything and all of that, your tightness of the rope has got to get a little loose.
But then also, too, you know, if you have a young kid that's working after school, I really do think that we need to teach our kids about bank accounts, saving money, teaching them, because, you know, I always tell all my boys, one day you're going to come somebody's husband. Yeah. And someday you're going to, so I want you to be so in an area where you'll know how to take care of your wife by you know, we're not looking for 18, but at least you be aware of you got some money somewhere.
Well, I believe this way, that, you know, I don't know how young you can have. Well, no, I say if you're even young and you just have a little small part-time job, or you're doing something and get some money, we should always teach our children not to just blow your money. Mm-hmm. You know, save for something. Mm-hmm. You know, so that you're never too young to learn the principle and the process of saving. Mm-hmm. That's something that we should put in our children when they get, I mean, like here, you know. Mm-hmm. You know, if you give them an allowance, you know, learn to start just saving instead of just spending and blowing anything. Because if you don't take care of that, then they'll get adults and that's what they'll do. So that should be a principle, teaching your children how to save.
Yeah.
You know. What about loaning money to relatives? Now, I did a series of teachings some years ago dealing with prosperity and finances, and it went into the area of loaning money. And the question is this: anytime you loan, the question is, you got to ask yourself, can I afford to give it? Now, I know we loan money out to family people and this and that, but now what happens if they can't pay you back? See, if you can't afford to give it. You can still call it a loan, and you can expect them to pay you back. But the truth of the matter is, it has to be with you, is if I can't afford to give it, then I shouldn't loan it. Because if I loan it and I can't afford to give it to you, and for whatever reason, you don't pay me back, now I'm in a spot. Somebody say, can you loan me a couple $100 until I get paid on the 4th? And that's part of your rent money. And you pull it because you trust them, they're going to pay you back when they get paid. Then something happens and they can't. Now your rent is due. What you going to do? So I've never been a person like that. And the Bible even talks about that, to be honest. You don't loan money out you can't really give. If I can't afford to give it to you, then I don't need to loan it to you. Because I have to think, what if you just can't pay it back? And then I'm in a spot now. And
that's how relationships get destroyed. People start fading away. They fade away. Like they don't want to see you. They know you're gonna be at the party. They're gonna show up. Yeah. They know you owe you money. Yeah. Or you bound. Especially church folks in church. Nobody want to tell nobody they got money in the church, because they're afraid the pastor's gonna ask for some money. So they say, "Oh, we ain't gonna testify about that stuff." And the devil will bound you in that area. I'm serious. It is. It's true. I'm not saying that I won that lottery last week. But ain't gonna tell nobody. I just stay.
No, not even that. People will do that. Thank the Lord, we've been delivered here at Better Life. But I grew up in church where people would do that. Somebody come in with something new, and they say, "Oh, you got something new." And they say, "Oh, this ain't nothing. I got this on sale." Really downplay it, as if so nobody asked me for some money or somebody gave it to me. Instead of just telling the truth, you bought it. Some folks are really scared to say when they've gotten blessed or whatever, with that fear of somebody gonna ask me for some money, and you got to get past that.
Yeah.
Really.
It will hold you a prisoner.
Yeah. You have to get past that.
That you could not enjoy what God blessed you with.
Yeah.
I know that your father was he had bought a new Cadillac. Yeah. New Cadillac, and he was our minister, he was our pastor, and he would not even drive the Cadillac to the church because he was afraid people going to say, "Who bought the Cadillac?"
And the thing about it was he was the major supervisor at the post office. But it was the fact of, and it did. I remember it very well. He bought it and didn't drive it to the church for at least a month, because just the thought. And believe me, that made an impact on me. And I said, and once I learned all this stuff after I said, I ain't had nothing. Mm-hmm. I wear my diamonds. Yeah. I'm not, because I know the Lord did it.
Right. But the devil will have you bound, like you cannot enjoy what God gave you. He'll make you feel so bad because somebody is not living the way God tells them to live. And it's not your fault that you decide to live like this. Right. It's not your fault that you cheap or you don't want nothing and you just that way. It ain't got nothing to do with me. If I want to enjoy everything that God given to me, it's not my fault if you don't feel the same way. But people get mad at you and say you think you all that. But the truth of the matter is, any child of God is all that. Sure. Any child of God is all that. So, don't deny who you are. You are all that.
Yeah. So loaning to relatives, first of all, that should always be something discussed with husband and wives, because I've even counseled people before where I asked that question, and one of the people said, "I don't know, if my brother needs something, I'm just going to give it to him." Well, now you married now. You have to talk about that. And then like I said, that loaning, you have to ask yourself, can I afford to give this just in case if they don't pay it back? Or they can't pay it back, or they just don't. So if you really don't have it to give, then you don't do it. Now, I take it a step further, and I learned this the hard way some years ago. Anytime, if I'm going to, I have to hear God now, because I got into some trouble 7 years ago. Some of y'all know 2008, that was a tough time for me. ministry-wise and personal-wise, financially, because I helped some family members, didn't talk to God, just out of the goodness of my heart, and did some things, and one thing led to another. And then those of you all know 2008 was the beginning of the economic crash. And, you know, and it affected us, 2008, 2009. You know, but I sold my way out of and all that. But the lesson I learned is I have to hear God, even if it's a relative, even if a relative has a need, and if I have the money, I talk to the Lord about it. Because sometimes, you know, sometimes we be quick to do things, and sometimes that person needs to kind of go through so that they don't do it again. You know, and you have to hear God on that. And
you become their personal God.
Yeah.
You really become their personal God, because they would never go to God for an answer if they got you for the answer.
Yeah.
And they're not doing it on purpose, but it's subconsciously. They always know you're gonna bail them out, and they'll never grow up.
Yeah.
You'll never grow up, because think about this, because you interfering what God is trying to show. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to interfere in God's plan. Yeah. And sometimes we'll dip in too quick and interfere. And God said, I didn't tell you to do that. I didn't tell you to do that. Now you're going to pay the consequence of what you did. Yeah. And then, you go down red with them. Then you wonder, like, how I got here? Yep. Where my money at? And one area that you messed up is when your money started disappearing.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you need to investigate why am I short? Mm-hmm. Why is this, whatever? That's when you start to investigate, like, oh my God, who did I sow into? Who did I help? Absolutely. Who did I this and that? Because once that money starts disappearing, and you working the same time you working and stuff, but all of a sudden you ain't got no money. It's something wrong with that picture.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, we can open up for our Q&A. Those who have a question, come on up. If there's written questions, you can do that also too. So not necessarily what we covered, but anything concerning marriage and family, finances, whatever. Come on down.
I have a question, Pastor.
You gonna walk over there? Or? No, I'm just. Go ahead.
Somebody brought to my attention about how long do you pray for a loved one when you believe in God for salvation for that person? Like, you have a loved one that you believe in God to get saved, and how long do you labor in that for that loved one to get saved? Like if it's your husband, like if I got saved and then my husband never saved, mm-hmm. and I'm trying to get him to get saved, I'm trying to get him to come to church, and he won't come to church, he don't like church folks, he don't mm-hmm. want to do this and that. How long do you labor in the word or labor in this for the person to get saved mm-hmm. in this?
Sure.
Without just giving up on them?
First of all, we labor into the word to enter the rest. That's the first thing we do. We labor in the word to enter that rest. And when we enter that rest, we believe we receive. Then it doesn't matter how the person is acting. I believe I received, they're going to be saved. I can't tell you it's going to happen this year. I can't tell you it's going to happen 20 years from now. But we labor in the word to enter that rest, and we just leave it alone. See, if we start putting a time on stuff, you're not at rest. And you're definitely not in faith if you put a time on it. That I'm going to give this person a year. If they don't act right then, I'm cut. See, you didn't get out. You're not even in faith in that. See, if we labor in the word to enter that rest, that I believe I received my husband is saved. I believe I received my wife is delivered, whatever it is. And then you just go on, and we just got out of the faith series. You continue calling those things that be not as though they were, and believe in God. And almost you start acting that faith. When you get in that faith, God gonna give you an instruction. God might tell you, you know what? Make your husband some turkey and dressing and some collard greens on a Wednesday. On a Wednesday? Nah, I might could deal on a Sunday. But turkey and dressing and collard greens and macaroni and cheese and a cake and some pie on a Wednesday? That might be the instruction. And you follow that instruction, and that joker come in and see this laid out. Oh, he know that must be a God. That I got to get saved, Does that answer the question?
I guess so. I guess